Antonhöpfel, Manapa, and let's talk Bund future. Bund future today. And this is the recap then, of course, of today's morning session. It's Wednesday, the 25th of September. Take a look first at my hypos of this morning. I prepared these three main hypos. Range long level, the low pre-market volume edge. It's also the low volume edge of this higher distribution from yesterday. It is about 8.15. The same level as I said, the lower volume edge of the higher distribution. It's a 174.64. So this is more the range long level. And it's always also kind of the list of today. Hypo 2, short, if increasing sell volume towards this 174.64 and sell pressure then needs to continue at the 174.57. Targets then 174.50 and 174.45. Hypo 3, what we're looking like the last days for a trend play long, confirming with the big picture. That means we watch then what's happening at this range long, at this list, at the 64. That means what we want to see here for the long. We want to see either a failed breakout or without a failed breakout, responsive buying. This would more like the range long level, open test drive situation, or with range without test, then it would be the open drive. We look anyway here for the trade away from this level. And if we don't get the open test drive and we have an open drive, then we want to see it. The best case will be a little pullback to the POC of the day or the pre-market and then towards to the pre-market higher volume edge. So away from the value with initiative, getting out, looking for new value. Targets would be the 174.90 for me. So target number 2, of course. Target number 1 would be in the scalping, more the next volume edge from the intraday marks, from the pre-market. And if the buy power remains, even 174.20 plus. So that's what it looks like, the levels and areas here painted on chart, where we at, where the list is around this level here, and where I see the shorter time frame, short opportunities, but with only little targets. We need to see that we are in a long trend, and this is need to see increasing sell volume into these levels to not secure your risk then. To not secure your profit, it means we need ongoing pressure. But on the long side, this is the list, this is the level. Either go in here with a failed breakout if it fails, or with responsive buying, or if it's an open test, open drive. We don't want to see a little pullback here at the moment PSC to get with initiative out of this area. Then we buy towards this higher volume edge of the pre-market. And here the target area number 1 with the weekly high. And that is built in the overnight session here, the 174.90, so also the overnight high. All right, perfect. Then how was it played out then? Supremely wonderful. Again, you see, we came in here from the pre-market. This gray rectangle here is the yesterday higher distribution, and we see we test in this area immediately after the open to the downside. So that means at this moment, and I will go back here a little bit and make it a little bit, spreading it up so you can see it better. We see here that when they tested and get breaking through to the downside, this is at this moment here, this is the open phase. 1, 2, 3, this is 30 seconds bars in the delta. Boom, 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 pushing low, low, low. And then when they take out the low here, what obviously happens then at 9 o'clock and 1, you see there's one push to the downside and boom, immediately. You see this compared to the selling power, immediately, boom, market buying, rejection by the bull side. Boom. This was the first trigger number 1 to now say this can become the open test drive I have prepared. What do we see now? Depends what your play looks like. My play want to see that they either, if there's selling coming in again now after this moment, either get absorbed, or if there's no selling coming, I want to see then, all right, there is not even more interest in selling. I want to see they switching confident to market buy. So what happens? No need for absorption, because you see selling was very, very tiny, very little. And then boom, here they switch to market buy again. The question was, what is now stop? What is now target? Target 1 would be here from the pre-market, the higher edge. So this here around the 71 area. And target 2 would be the area about 90. This is what we prepared from the big picture preparation. All right. What happens? Trigger 2 was coming here at this moment. I open up the position. And now look, first, freeze. At this moment, what we need to do, of course, the moment before, and this is prepared, we need to know where is now our stop and where is our targets. Targets are just named. Where's the stop now? My stop, when this situation, when coming from a failed breakout at a certain level that is important and can be seen as the open test drive level from the virgin market after the cash open, my play says my stop here is from the initiative when I get a cheap entry should be around the area from the pullback. So this was 4 ticks. So here 62 to 66. There was my stop. Then I wait for the impulse phase, the next. So this means boom here at this moment. Then I was allowed to pull my stop closer. My rule says here that I can closer my stop to my, this is adaptive. So there's no rule like in a play when I make the range play. This is very, very fixed, very static then. After the impulse phase, I measure all the impulse phases, and if there is a new impulse phase coming with more volume, my stop will get to a fixed level and then to another level. So this, I improved this method, and this is the best thing that works for me the best. So in this case, I'm just allowed after impulse phase number 1 appearing to pull the stop closer. So that means most of the times I get here the 4 or 5 tick stops, I pull it then to 1, 2 ticks. So because what I do not want to see is when we see a real good failed breakout, rejection, and then switching to the confident market buying. All right? In context, the big picture is a good level from the reward. I don't want to see here that they now, boom, like the opposite here, boom, red, bearish, rejection now back. So that means they just trapping here the buyer. All right? They're trapping the guys who playing the same thing I do now. All right, this is, I think, obvious. So this wasn't happening, but I was immediately filled, 5 ticks here. This was the edge. I'll show you here, pre-market. All right, pre-market edge, where the short initiative started already here. See this? Boom, cannot get higher, boom, cannot get higher, boom. So this was target 1, 5 ticks, and contract number 2 for all the trade more contracts. I said let this contract in, and we're reaching target number 2 then here, 90. Obviously, take a look. There was no reason to take out your profit before, because look at the strength of the delta at the time when we crossing the whole pre-market range. See this? All the time it was bought, taking profits. It was bought, taking some profits, was bought. Taking more profits here at the high, people testing, coming in again, absorption, absorption, absorption. See this here? Delta, falls, 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 falls. Price didn't accept lower than 77. Divergence. Coming in again, taking out the high from the initial balance from the 8 to 9, pulling back, staying in control. So for the guys who not want to be top tick Tony, but at least waiting for the breakout and looking here for the re-enter, well, maybe here the situation, because we had here clear signs of absorption before, or even here. But the thing was, I not want to take on this breakout trades anymore at this top areas. I'm looking for the cheaper entry, because this works out better for me and it's not so stressy. Anyway, there was no reason, as you can see. It was only the pullback. It was only one phase of pulling back, absorption, and getting into the game again. One phase of pulling back, but absorption, no 2 times lower low. We stayed here. You see, very important, the value shifts with this moments to the upside. I draw the live volume profile for this very moment, so you can see how volume develops here. That means we see that volume follows here the price. A very trendy signal also to see, can I stay in this trade or have I take the profits here very quick? No, you see this here, how much volume here is built already, and at this very moment we already have shift in the POC. See this here? At this moment here we shift the POC to the upside. So we see the people here interested. Big picture. Participants, OTF, they're fighting about this level. Pulling back, fighting, 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 staying here. Initiative, again, here. Boom, away from the, at the moment, POC. Boom. All right, and reaching the target area, then they play around a little bit higher, even at the 90-95 level, tried it again, failed. And what happened then was that this was a mediocre OTF participant. So this was a totally normal situation in the Bund. The ticks you could have made maybe 25 here with the second position, 23, and 5 with the first. So this pays your trade, your position, house money then, and then you can wait to get to your next target. And of course not start sitting here and being stupid and get stopped out then again. You want to watch and see if there is a necessity to get out and secure your loss before. But in this case, as I described, there was no need to take out and secure your risk with a. Let's just example for 2 contracts. And in context to my big picture preparation, which is as every day, you can now watch for, I think, at least 3 months. Every day, I put it out every day, I think at 8:20 around, all right? So before the cash opened, before it's got played. So very clear and very transparent. You can see it and you can improve it and work out your plays and can improve your way of thinking as the way I describe it. I think this is a very, very good method to get more knowledge about how to think, how to measure, how to rate it. That's just objectively. It's not a forecast. I don't tell you where the market's going to, but I tell you if the market's showing a certain behavior on a before prepared mark in context taken out from the big picture, we measure statistically our advantage, the risk in the small picture and the reward, the best case from the big picture. So this is what's happened today. You see then, again, the classical play here, people played the VWAP pullback here. You see that absorbing here, the VWAP then, trying to get lower, here, lower, but absorption. And then the confidence going back to the buy side, but you see the buying had no impact. Again, a divergence. That means the people who tried to get here and playing like the long continuation failed, and then you see, all right, guys, you're trapped now in this trade, and boom, they were spit out, the people, and they were trapped. And then they find the next level here from the value edge, from the yesterday pre-market, yesterday higher value. So it was interesting to watch here. Can they accumulate here again pieces? Can they absorb? And will they use this level then as the new re-entry level for the continuation of the long? But I wasn't watching then for a trade anymore. I got here my trade, and this was not interesting for me. And also it was about the time 11, already 10:30. This is not interesting anymore. Bund gives you a very good opportunity, I found out, in this cash open phase after 9, between 9 and 10:30. This is the best hour for me. The virgin trades, I call this the virgin, where we can rely on our big picture preparation, and the market has not built yet its own, like say, confidence, its own values. So that means we have a clear situation and we have a virgin situation. Now we don't have any virgin market anymore. We see already areas where we have pullback, we see where it failed, we're testing now levels again, and later the time, the less volume will be there. Normally between the lunch hours, then of course people will make their break as well. Not only I have to eat, but other traders as well. So this wasn't interesting then for me anymore, but I just watched it and we talked with guys from our stream, and you could see it then here. They built some passive volume here. That means provided liquidity in a bit here. People want to play it along, and we see as the absorption here already took on. It only was taken out 1 tick lower and again 1 tick lower. That means absorption was not super perfect, but you see it was a lot of also some selling. And very cool in this moment, the selling was really a big one from this phase. You see, this was the biggest market selling here, but they couldn't take out the low at the 74. And then you see, boom, rejection switching here to the buy side. People get out of the short, and they tried it then. And the second initiative away from the POC is coming. Boom, now here. So that's just a moment when we knew, okay, they accept this edge, they don't want to go back to this lower distribution, to the lower value. We stay here, the trend overall stayed active, and then they played the high again. And then it was 11 o'clock, and session end, and the market is now, or went into a balanced range market, and they now playing a little bit algo trading here in between the 76 and 781. You see popping up algos. Look at the footprint, you can see here. See this here, the algos here. a lot of liquidity and bouncing balls, like playing table tennis in between those two walls. All right, that's today's recap, my opinion to the market, how I played it, and how you can get better reading the market and understanding how important it is to see everything in context with the big picture, and only taking these levels because these levels are your activity zones. Thanks for watching. This is Anton Hapfel for Manapa Trading.